Mr. President, at my age, I don't think I will lobby anybody under the sun. I would do the right thing, and I always do the right thing, and sincerely and honestly too. So, I know, I look at faces in this chamber whom have come to me and sought for my help when my wife was the president of the Court of Appeal. And I'm sure I'm...
Distinguished Senator Adam Ahmed Bulkachuwa, I think I will advise that you just round up and take your seat.
Name any names. We know ourselves.
No, but this kind of insinuation will mean that there was favor, there was this and the rest of it. I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I must say that, okay, to round up, since that's what you want me to do, I will do that. And I must thank particularly my wife, whose freedom and independence I encroached upon while she was in office. And she has been very tolerant and accepted my encroachment and extended her help to my colleagues.
Distinguished, please, I don't think this is a good idea, go in this direction. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea, please.
Okay, so Owen Mwoko, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, former Attorney General for Akwa Ibom State, joins us next to shed some, give his perspective on that piece we just heard. It wasn't any insinuation, Mr. Mwoko, because he is the man who says this exactly happened. And that raised a lot of questions for several people, not just in this country, but even other Nigerians who are abroad, saying, wait a minute, is this what has been happening in the judiciary? How can this ever be? In fact, some ask, so even some members in the Senate there, he said, benefited from the benevolence of his wife. So how could or is or you, the judiciary, taking this kind of revelation?
Good morning, Chamberlain, and good morning, our viewers. Just like other Nigerians, just like other well-meaning Nigerians, we received that information. I wouldn't really say with shock, but I think with great pleasure, because it gives hope that one day in Nigeria, we will get to find out, to know more than we do know right now. That revelation by the distinguished Senator Bulkachuwa is a pointer to the fact that a lot of the things that we see and we work with are not exactly what they ought to be. Let me begin by saying this. Let me put as a way of caution that whatever he said about the role of his wife as the president of the Court of Appeal should not be taken as a judgment on the judiciary. We have judicial officers with very high integrity. We have a judiciary that can be counted upon. We have a judiciary that is the last of the common man. We have a judiciary that is delivering judgments and making rulings and making decisions based purely on what the law says and what it should be.
But Mr. Mwoko, I mean, the parliament to jump in, Mr. Abakoba also saying former MBA, he led the MBA as well, thinks that this is a disgrace. And several other people think that senior lawyers, the judiciary, MBA, they have to respond or speak about these kind of revelation here. So do you think along that line, should the former president of the Court of Appeal also speak up on this matter? Because several instances, this kind of insinuations came through and she flatly denied it.
Well, she might have denied it in the past, but today her husband has come to let the cat out of the bag.
Okay, thank you. It's frozen, but sooner rather than later it should be back. But, well, it came through.
And we should not.
Yeah.
Are you with me? Are you with
yes.
me?
Go ahead.
Yeah. You see, what the point I'm making is that for her and for those who work with her, it's a big disgrace to her as a person. It's a big disgrace to her family. It's a big disgrace to what she represents. But I am very cautiously putting it that we should not use this revelation as a benchmark for judging the Nigerian judiciary. Yes, her husband has come to relate it, because this is there were suspicions. There were certain decisions that called to question the standard applied, but it was denied. But today, the shame is on her. The shame is on her family. The shame is on her husband, who led her to compromise the integrity and the system. But my caution is that we should not use it as a benchmark for judging the Nigerian judiciary, because that is not all that we represent. But for her as a person, for her family, for her husband, they are a big disgrace to the Nigerian system.
Yeah, but I did ask also that, look, shouldn't senior lawyers, the NBA, shouldn't they be, I mean, what kind of statements should they even make? And if they make those statements, of what implication or importance or import will those statements be?
You've just asked a good question. This thing came up 3 days ago or thereabouts. And people don't just jump to issue statements, particularly people heading institutions. I'm sure senior lawyers, I'm sure the NBA, I'm sure the body of benchers, which I am a member, would begin to appraise the situation and come up with their position. But it cannot be an overnight thing. And I don't expect anybody to rush to issue statements. I don't expect any institution to rush to draw immediate standard position that should be presented. So I expect that the body of benchers, the Nigerian Bar Association, other civil society organizations, senior lawyers will begin to appraise this issue and make comments on them. But the past 3 days is not enough to say, oh, why haven't they said something?
Pardon me, but
it's too early.
I know that you mean you also have law students who listen to this kind of scenario. They hear the statements and judgments have been handed down. It's also etched in history. So how should this be approached for those category of people? And should judge, for those who think, wait a minute, should we go back to previous judgments that have been handed down, where she presided over? What can be done in the light of this statement in that regard?
Well, yesterday, right here in my office, I had a situation where a friend brought a young daughter to join the office as an intern. And we had opportunity of discussing this kind of thing. What happens to the future of our children? I have 3 young lawyers coming up to practice the same law. And it's very unfortunate that they are coming to inherit a situation that needs a great deal of management and repair. That is the truth. What we inherited, it's not what they are coming to inherit. There is a big line of problem. And we particularly, the regulators of the judicial system, the regulators of the legal profession, particularly the body of benchers, need to do a self-appraisal. They need to take time to look at it again. And then, of course, the process of recruitment of judicial officers, not only that, of management of their conduct over the years. Because you're talking about the former president of the Court of Appeal at the highest level in Nigeria. And so this is a major regulator herself. She was occupying a regulatory office. And so if this is if this is a dent on the way she managed her office, you now know that there is a problem. I agree completely there's a problem. So we now need to do and manage it, particularly so that the younger ones that are coming up will not have lost hope in the system they inherited. They will not have lost hope in the future of their profession. Because truly, there is, no matter what we face, we don't have an option other than to continue to depend on the judiciary as the last or the common man, as the body that will continue to dispense justice.
So, some people will say that this raises questions about, the marriage of the political class with members of the judiciary, and we've seen many more, or we know many more politicians who are married to judges. So there are questions as to whether or not, there should be any, maybe legislation or, let's say barrier now, preventing people who are married to judges from joining politics. Do we have to go down that extreme lane?
No, it will be difficult to do. I wouldn't subscribe to that opinion. But what we need to do is to ensure that whichever judicial officer takes the oath of office should be accountable for that oath that she takes. And then when we have a close monitoring system, he will be able to draw the line so that wherever somebody crosses the line of the oath of office, he should be answerable to it. But it will be difficult to make a law or amend the constitution to say that the judicial officer should not be married to a politician. I mean that will be going to the higher level of extremity. And if you take them away from politicians, what of military people? What of people in other areas? What of businessmen? If a judicial officer is the spouse of a major businessman who has a case, the same influence that the politician would exert on the spouse would also be extended. There's no way you can completely shield it off. So judicial officers cannot be totally excluded or prevented from getting married to a particular set of. They will not be married to judicial officers only, and to say that that we now keep a close family link. So it would always be there. But all we need to do is let the regulatory system, become more responsive to the situations that we face, so that this kind of shameful revelations will not come.
Well, the president has been talking about judicial reform, so we'll look to see what manner those reforms will further take, as it were. But we do thank you for your perspectives. Nwoko, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, former Attorney General for Akwa Ibom State and the body of benches, as you also heard him say. Well, let's take a look at some feedback coming through from you. Edmund, you sent in this very first one, talking about what transpired in the National Assembly yesterday. Now, Edmund's email here, is this a tweet? Okay, email. Edward starts by saying, what happened at the House of Representatives yesterday was an ambush against democracy and the Nigerian people. What was supposed to be a solemn affair now became a ground for chanting religious mantra. An open ballot was carefully crafted to work against the conscience of the members and promote eye service. The Senate showed more maturity, trying to uphold the ethos of good democratic practice through the secret ballot.
Well, this other email we received from Ahmed Shua says, congratulations to the new leadership of the 10th Assembly. Let them give full support to the Tinubu-led administration for the progress of Nigeria. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Oh, this one is from Honorable Alalade, and he says, the permutations of who becomes the Senate President and Speaker are over. That should be. The presiding officers have been elected, and what Nigerians are expecting is for the 10th Assembly to start working independently from the executive arm to bring development to the country.
Pastor Loafa Cross says the tasks before the 10th Assembly are teething and all-encompassing, ranging from electoral reforms, bills to revive the economy from the doldrums, bills to tackle varied forms of criminality and terrorism, and so on. The National Assembly should stamp their authority. Guess time will tell. And that's Sunrise Daily this morning. Thank you for the privilege of being a part of your morning. I'm Ayo Makinde. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.
And for those wondering what's going to be happening to the Chief of Staff, who also participated in the voting yesterday, we understand that he's expected to tender his resignation on the floor of the House of Representatives today.
Yeah. Yes, and they say, look, he had to take that oath yesterday, else he will not be a member. So what then happens is that there will now be a by-election, and they will have to conduct that to fill up that space when he resigns. Well, that is the show. Thank you as well for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain. So goodbye.
And I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. Bye for now.